up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season 18, episode 17, and the finale episode. And it was a good finale episode. So let's get into it. Sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. Now, I really don't have that much to talk to you about, and normally I say that, and it'd be like 3 or 4 things, but honestly, it's just one thing. So I came across this when I was scrolling yesterday about Shannon. So I guess Shannon is acting like she doesn't want to come back for next season or debating whether or not she's going to return. It's giving very much Kyle Richards. The same way Kyle was acting like she didn't want to return for this newest season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And we all was like, cut the cap, girl. You coming back. She back. Shannon will be back. But I will link below the People magazine article that I'm referring to. But I'm just going to read the headline and just a quick little excerpt from it. So it says this: Shannon Bedore weighs RHOC return after difficult season. I separated myself from toxic situations. Exclusive. It depends on who I would be on the season with, and I'm not saying that in a threatening way. I experienced some with people that were very unhealthy for me to be around. Bedore tells People, and this was posted or published on October the 31st, 2024. Now, here's my thing. Shannon's coming back, but I get what Shannon is trying to do. If she's going to have to be on a season with Alexis and Tamra, and I think this is more so pertaining to Alexis than it is Tamra, because I feel like Shannon can handle her back and forth with Tamra. It's the added effect of Alexis being there that I feel like Shannon will be like, hey, if y'all want me to be on this show, either you going to cough up some more money if I still have to be around Alexis and Tamra, or kick her off this show and give me my regular check. I think that's what Shannon is playing at. For her to be like, I'm not saying this in a threatening way. It's giving, girl, give me more money. But you are threatening to leave, knowing that you are one of the biggest draws to this show. So it's like either kick her off and I keep my regular check, or keep her here and y'all up my money. Because we're not going to act like this isn't Shannon's sole income right about now. Her and Vicky doing them like Dos Amigas shows they're not doing it at the rate in which she can sustain herself based off of those shows. And the business that she has going for herself, I don't even know the name of, but we already know in this season she explained that it has plateaued after the DUI. So I know for a fact Shannon ain't about to give up this check for Tamra, and I know for sure not for Alexis. So it's just giving, girl, give me more money if y'all want me to be in the mix with all of this. And I'm not mad at it. But let's get into this review. So the episode opens up and we find out that the girls are back from London. We see this meetup with Emily, Gina, and Shannon, but Emily and Gina get there first. They're supposed to be doing axe throwing, which is a very tiring thing to do. I went 2 years ago, and I promise you that's why they gotta fill you with alcohol and liquor to make you slow down, because you gonna throw an arm out. Basically, they're talking, and Emily was just she was reflecting on the trip to London, and she was kind of bummed that Shannon ended up leaving early. So we find out that Shannon actually left hours before the rest of the ladies, because she didn't want to ride on the same plane as them, because she was that tired, done, and through with being around them. So then Gina ends up agreeing with her, but we find out in a flashback that Gina and Shannon met up prior to today's event in the episode, and they talked, and Shannon actually apologized for looking up that information about Travis, and Gina appreciated that Shannon didn't bring it to the show. And Gina said in her confessional, honestly, both Shannon and Tamara are at fault. The only difference is it seems like Shannon is trying her best to become a better person, so I can give give Shannon a little bit more grace, but they're still both wrong, which I agree. Y'all was trying to argue in them comments talking about Shannon, it's not equivalent. It is. Shannon was looking up dirt on Gina so she could throw it back in her face. And if you're going to say that Tamara doing the whole background check was just as wrong, then it's just as wrong for you to take a story that's out there that really nobody was talking about last season. I wasn't talking about it. I didn't see anybody on the blogs talk about it and try to throw it in Gina's face at the reunion. It's equivalent. It is what it is, okay? So We then see Jen get there. She's showing off her ring. She's like, hey, y'all, ring and everything. And we find out that when they got back from London, her and Ryan went on a trip to the Bahamas, and he got down on one knee when they were on the beach and proposed. And she said yes. You know, she in the confessional like, I got the ring. And I'm like, okay, girl, I don't know if you want it. I don't know if you want that. So next thing you know, we see Shannon get there, and she shows the ring. Jen shows the ring to Shannon, and Shannon's like, oh my gosh, congratulations. Like, I'm so happy for you. You know, everybody counted you out, but look, you guys made it work. Emily even was like, you know, Ryan has grown on me, and I'm happy for you guys. But in the confessional, Emily is pretty much like, there's a lot of red flags with Ryan, but if Jen is happy, I guess it is what it is. I ain't really got nothing to say, pretty much. So they start doing the axe throwing, having fun and all of that stuff. Then they take like a break, and we find out that Jen met up with Katie and Alexis to have lunch or dinner. And, you know, they're talking about the engagement. And Alexis was like, what if we throw you an engagement party? Like, but it's like everybody wear tacky bridesmaids dresses. And Jen is like, oh my gosh, I love that. Like, me and Ryan like that type of fun stuff. They're like, okay, cool, bet. So then Jen explains to the group that she's like, I'm supposed to be meeting up with Tamara. Tamara wants to prove to me that, Shannon, you were a lot more involved in the conversation about the whole background check thing. But I'm at the point where I don't want to continue being on this hamster wheel with her. And like, I just want to text her, hey, thanks for reaching out. Thanks for congratulating me about the engagement. But I'm not at a place where I want to have this conversation. I still would like you to come to the party if you want to, but I'm just not at that point in my life with this situation. And Emily is just like, that's great and all, but are you sure you want to do that? Because you don't believe that, like, you really don't think that if Tamara comes to your party, she might not corner you and basically have it out with you, or get to, like, you know, have the conversation that she wants to have with you, that y'all are supposed to have, that you're like, you know, you're declining. And Shannon's like, no, she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that, which makes me feel like Shannon was a lot more involved in that conversation. A lot more involved in that conversation. That's why I'm just kind of like, it doesn't matter that Shannon was looking up that information, because I guess the lady that was named was her children's stepmother or whatnot. But it's giving that you wanted more information. So you went to Tamara because, you know, Tamara likes to dig, and that conversation kept going on and on. Because why were you like, she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. Tamara. Evil ass Tamara would not come to somebody's event and blow it up because they didn't want to have a conversation that she wanted to have. Yeah, Shannon, you are way more involved in that conversation, sis. Way more. And so the scene ends there. We then see a scene of Alexis going to Tamara's house. Mind you, she bringing a thing of Kleenex with a bow on it, talking about, we got to clean this stuff up. You know, all the stuff we got to talk about. I said, girl, I mean, I would have took it because it's Kleenex, and, you know, you can't never run out of like cleaning products, but like, that was corny. That was so corny, Alexis. So corny. So they sit down on the couch, and what's her name? Tamara's just like, you know, tell me about like what's going on with you. Like, the last time I saw you, girl, you was ring shopping. Are you engaged? Like, what's going on? She was like, not yet, but it's coming. We then see this dual confessional with John and Alexis. And, you know, Alexis is just like, I'm so in love. Like, this is real. And John's like, yeah, this is the real deal. But then production is shady. They show when Tamara and Eddie and Shannon and John had like a double date together, and John said the same thing to Shannon about being in love with her, and saying like, you know, you are my person, you're my I think he said, you are my future. That'd have been corny as hell to me. And Shannon being like, yeah, I know. So it's just really giving that John loves bombs these women, and they eat it up. They eat it right on up. So while they're sitting there, Tamara ends up telling Alexis how her and Jen are not in a good place, but she did congratulate her for, you know, getting engaged. I sent her a text message. She was like, you know, I wanted to meet up with her, but she didn't want to meet up with me. And honestly, Shannon is the reason why we're not at a good place. She got in between us. So pretty much they showed the text message again where Shannon texted Tamara saying, Eddie said to send this info in writing to production so you have a paper trail. Apparently blank is suing blank for back child support. Can your friend look up this case? And so Tamara saying like, this is the full message, because our text message conversation was long AF. But the only thing that Shannon showed Jen was the part that says, I'm asking my friend's husband if he can do a background check. And so Tamara was like, I've never asked anyone to do a background check, but I'm like, you just did that. But I guess Tamara is saying that, like, I didn't go out of my way to do this background check. The only reason why I tried to do one or was thinking about doing one is because Shannon brought this information to me because she asked me to look up this stuff for her. So if I'm going to get in trouble, then Shannon should be in trouble as well because she's the one that started all of this. So we then go back to the dual confessional with John and what's her name? No, I think no, it wasn't that one. The confessional was just with Alexis, where Alexis was like this is what Shannon does. Shannon creates her own narratives and then she starts throwing it out there. The same way that she's getting in between Tamara and Jen is what she's done to John. And I said, I guess, girl. We then get this really cute scene of all the ladies, well, majority of the ladies with their kids. We get like kind of like an update. So we see that Dawson and Jen are in a better place, which is good for them. And he's thinking about joining the Marines. I said, ooh. And when Jen said he don't know what he in store for, he really don't. He really don't. Like if Dawson wasn't disciplined enough to like wake up and go to school or be on getting his work done, choosing the Marines is something. Going to the military in general is look, and I'm saying this as an army brat, okay? Like you have to like kind of art to me. I would say people who succeed, they already come into, basic training or joining the military with at least a base level of like responsibility and like understanding of what they're going into. Like they're not just doing like you shouldn't, if you want to be successful, you shouldn't just be doing it because of a whim. You should do it because you want to be a part of it. Because I'm like, that's a lot. When I tell you that's a lot, that's a lot. And the Marines is strict, okay? When I tell you, like, the horror stories I have heard of from men and women who have dated people in the Marines, no thank you. Okay, if you want to date people, let me just say, start with the Air Force, then go to the Army, then hit the Navy, and then you might even want to jump to the National Guard before you get to the Marines. Because they I don't know what they be going through in basic training, but they build different. And you have to have some type of fortitude or like, you got to be prepared for them type of people. Okay. So I'm just like, I don't know about that, Dawson. We then see Heather with her oldest son. And we find out that he really didn't want to go to college, but he's having fun in college. We also find out that he got his real estate license and he sold his first home, but he's enjoying himself in college, even though he really didn't want to go. And Heather was like, that's the point of like creating your own independence, going, studying abroad, having fun. It creates life skills. And that's true. That's why I think that like, even if people, I know how people are like college isn't for everybody. It's not, but like, the experience that college gives you, being on your own, surrounded by people that are around the same age as you, making your own responsibility, like, doing what you want, creating your own responsibilities, like just enjoying life away from your parents, I think is important. So like, if you don't go to college, if you can find a way to move out or join like a community college that has, because there now are community colleges that have dorms, go to that. Or like pick up a trade where it's like you do on-site training, like do something where you're not like constantly stuck at home, because it is something that like I feel like everyone should experience because it's fun and it does teach you life skills, like Heather said. And then we see Tamara's daughter, she playing music. It actually sounded pretty good. We find out that she mastered and mixed the whole thing and wrote the song, and she's really interested in music and being a part of the music industry and stuff like that. And Tamara was like, well, I definitely think you should like go into music classes when you go to college. And I think that is important, like build your craft. We found out that Tamara wanted to go to fashion school, but she got pregnant and had her oldest son. And here we are with Tamara, And then we have Kylie, Katie's daughter, showing her husband Matt that her name, like she got approved to change her name. And so they were all happy. People got emotional. It was a nice scene. I still think that whole situation is kind of weird. And I don't know if it's gender based, that like her dad seems to have a good relationship with her brothers and not her, or if there is like some meddling from Katie, or if there's just more to the story. Like, is the dad basically an a-hole, or is there like just some disconnect? Because I do think it's kind of crazy that Kylie is changing her last name, but like the other two, I don't know if they're interested. We know the one that's living with the dad doesn't want to change his name, but I'm wondering if the middle child wants to change his name or if he has a different relationship with the father or not. But it was a sweet scene. They talked about how you are allowed to choose your family and so on and so forth. Have is with Gina and Travis. So Gina has Travis over. He's putting together this bookcase. And while they're sitting on the floor together, their two dogs come in. And she's thanking Travis for watching the kids while she was in London. And then she makes a comment. No, Travis makes a comment how he snuggles, the dog, the girl dog, more than he's been snuggling with Gina. And Gina was like, yeah, I know. So then they start talking. And she was like, I really thought long and hard about you moving out. And she was like, I thought this was the best case for all of us involved, and I really don't regret my decision. I just, I wish we did live together. Travis ends up telling Gina, like, I'm not happy about this decision. I don't think it was the right decision, but it's the decision that you made. They do the flashback where when Gina was talking to Heather, and Gina was saying how Travis's ex makes it so hard and like difficult for them to be together. And then next thing you know, Gina starts to get emotional because basically Travis told Gina, I'm not going to be waiting this long. Like, I don't know where we go from here. Like, I'm not going to be like staying by myself and we're not together. But I think the conversation is weird because in the beginning of the season, I felt like Gina said the main reason she wanted Travis to move out was because her kids needed more room. And Travis has 3 kids, Gina has 3 kids, and they were all living in like bunk beds in 2 rooms. It was too much. They were living on top of each other. So that is why she wanted Travis to move out. Now we're saying that it's the ex that's the issue. It's not making sense to me. Honestly, I get where Gina's coming from and I get where Travis is coming from. Like, I get if Gina's like, yo, you don't make enough money. My kids are getting bigger. You need to leave so I can give my kids more room and we're not living on top of each other. I also understand her not wanting to put up with a messy, toxic ex. And I feel like Gina's telling the truth because I've yet to see anybody get any information or post it on the blogs about Travis's ex coming out trying to refute the things that Gina has been saying, because Gina has been making it very clear that lady is toxic and she crazy. So maybe it is true because we haven't heard her side. And I get Travis being like, well, how are we supposed to be a family if we don't live together? But then I'm also looking at Travis like, why would you be okay with like 9 people? Is it 9? No, is it 8? Hold up. I could do basic math, y'all. Because he got 3, that's 6. Yeah, 8 people, my bad. 8 people living in a house that's like a 3-bedroom home or a 4-bedroom house. Like there's no space. So why haven't you start planning and saving to like move your family into a bigger home? I'm also looking at Gina like, what are you doing with your checks? Are you paying off student loan? Like, are you paying restitution for your DUI if you had to pay it? Like, I'm like, why don't you have enough money if you are selling all these properties to like move? Like, why are we not like saving to move into a bigger house just for you and your kids alone? So then all of your kids have their own room. It's just the whole thing is weird to me, bro. It kind of is because I'm just like, we started off saying it was money problems, that y'all ain't have enough to live in a house big enough for each other. Now it's his toxic ex. But I think there's also more to their relationship because then Travis ends up being like, I need you to stop running away when things get difficult. I need you to run in and stop self-sabotaging. And so Gina ends up being like, you're right. And are you okay with us going to counseling? And he said, yeah, if you set it up, I'm okay with going. So I guess if Gina comes back, that's going to be her next storyline, is her and Travis going to counseling. We have is everybody getting ready for the tacky bridesmaids engagement party for Jen and Ryan. So we see Emily getting ready. She decides to wear the dress that she wore when her and Shane got married. And she looked good in the dress when she got married, and she looks good in the dress now. And then Shane goes into the garage and he was like, I got the flowers that you have. And he was like, it's like our marriage, it's stale, the color has left. But like, honestly, I thought that was actually very sweet and sentimental. I know a lot of people don't think that there's love between Shane and Emily, but like something about them just works. It seems like 2 friends that like, decided like, hey, let's get together, and they seem really happy. So So I thought that was sweet. So we get to the actual party, and remember, Alexis and not Jen, Alexis and Katie agreed to throw the party for Jen. So they get there. Alexis didn't understand the assignment. She thought because the material for her dress was cheap that she was wearing a tacky bridesmaid's dress, but the dress looked fine. I even thought Katie looked fine. Like in the blue, I guess the only way that you could think that it was tacky is if you're a person that doesn't like ruffles, because she had ruffles on her shoulders and then like I think ruffles down at the end, but she didn't look bad to me. We then see Shannon. So Shannon and Vicky got ready together. Shannon and Vicky looked tacky. Now, Vicky had me dying when she told Shannon to get up. She was like, get up. Because Shannon didn't want to get her outfit wrinkly like she did on the first episode of this season. So she is leaning like in the back seat, like just, I mean, like y'all, like this. Like this. And Shannon and Shannon's friend, and I guess Vicky's friend as well, is in the back of the car, and the guy is like, Shannon, if you get wrinkles in the dress, it would make it more tacky. Like that's the purpose of the party. It's a tacky party. And Tamara's like, get up. Not Tamara. Vicky's like, get up. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna have to give yourself a headache. And Shannon was like, but I don't want wrinkles. And the craziest thing is like when they got to the party, Shannon was complaining about her neck hurting, and I was like, yeah, because you were like riding at an uncomfortable angle for probably maybe depending like maybe 14, 15, maybe 30 minutes. We don't know how far the venue was from Shannon's house, but I was just like, this don't make no sense. We then end up seeing Joe. And I remember Joe. She was on season 1 and 2 of Real Housewives of Orange County. She was with Slade. But she's there. We find out that she got married and she been living her life. So we then see Emily. And Emily was giving tacky. But she wasn't giving tacky bridesmaid. She was giving tacky bride. But when Heather pointed out like, oh, it is tacky to wear white at a wedding, I said, oh, I get it. I like it. She had on like these satin purple gloves. She had a flower crown, and I liked it. Then Heather pulls up. Heather's bridesmaid's dress, it didn't look like a bridesmaid's dress to me. It just looked like a tacky prom outfit, but at least it was tacky. And Heather even was like looking at Katie and Alexis being like, neither one of them understood the assignment because they look fine. They look totally fine. So then Katie says in her confessional, like, when they, like, a lot of these women are older than me. In their closet, they have vintage pieces. So even Gina was tacky, and Gina and Katie are the same age, 40. And she got on this blue outfit. The blue color did look good on her, but then she has on this choker, and then she had on leggings and these sparkle boots. It was a mess. So then we have this scene of Emily and Heather talking, and I was actually surprised to see how well that Emily and Heather were getting along. I was like, okay. Like here lately, I felt like, still feel this way, that Emily undercover did not like Heather, but maybe Emily just really wanted Heather to like validate her and like include her in like a friendship or be a friend to her, because they were kikiing and giggling, and it actually looked like they were having like an honest and fun conversation. So I'm looking at Heather like, maybe you need to stop trying to be friends with Gina and just be friends with Emily, girl. While Emily and Heather are at the bar, Heather basically tells Emily, what's funny is, Katie didn't say hello to me. And Emily was like, she didn't? And she was like, no. And Heather says in confessional, for someone that keeps saying that I snubbed her or that like I don't acknowledge her, you do the same to me. So what are we supposed to be doing? So then we actually see a scene of Matt, which is Katie's husband, talking to Katie and Alexis, being like, that's some cold shit right there. Like, Heather didn't even say hello to us. And I'm like, what are y'all expecting from this lady? Why should she have to go out of her way to be kind to you and your wife when your wife hasn't been kind to her? I get it. Everybody hate Heather. Everybody thinks Heather's mean, pretentious, and like condescending, whatever. But what we're not about to do is rewrite history. Katie came on this show with a premeditated beef because she already felt some type of way that Sutton's Christmas party, that Heather did not acknowledge her presence, and Heather pretty much paid her dust and kept it pushing. Then Katie wants to bring on this whole paparazzi drama that was settled last season, season 17, but you bring it to season 18, trying to paint this narrative that Heather is a liar and Heather is this and Heather is that, and then you expect a lady to like be cool with you. Like, you didn't even get to know her before bringing out this paparazzi information. That would be one thing if you and Heather were like trying to build a friendship and then she paid you dust or did something that you thought was like disrespectful. But no, you led with, oh, I dug up information about you and I called my friend who works with the paparazzis and they said you did call him. Like, That's shady behavior. So why would she go out her way to say hello to you? And now she's finding out that your daughter is going around telling everyone that Emily's kids said that she's mean and nasty to their mom. Like, we're like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, So then we see Tamara get there. Tamara's outfit did give tacky bridesmaids. Everyone's kind of excited to see everybody and stuff like that. We then see Shannon and, what's her name? Shannon and Vicky get there. The girls are happy to see them. Vicky is not speaking to Tamara. And Tamara is just like, wow, like, Vicky not speaking to me. I said, girl, you burned that bridge with her. Vicky does not like how you doing, Shannon. So she said, I'm not speaking to you. We're not speaking to you. So we then see this conversation between Gina and Tamara, where Tamara actually expresses that she's not drinking anymore. She was like, the last time I drank, and she was talking about at Katie's house where she kept calling Ryan a bitch. She was just like, it's too much and I need to work on that. And then Tamara actually apologizes to Gina because Gina says, what you and Shannon did in London was not okay. Like, you made everybody else collateral damage in y'all stuff, and that's just not okay. And Gina says the thing about Tamara is Tamara wants to burn bridge, like she'll burn a bridge, and instead of like just burning that bridge, she wants to nuke the entire town. And it's like very narcissistic behavior. And it's like, girl, you don't got to take everybody else down with you when you're beefing with somebody. And you don't. We end up seeing Jen go speak to Vicky and Shannon, and they're huddled up in the corner, and they're like, and Jen's like, y'all not mixing and mingling. Oh, and I forgot to say, Jen and Ryan get there. And Jen is just like, Vicky's like, no, I'm good right here. Shannon's like, I'm good right here too. And we hear Jen tell Vicky, like, girl, I'm over it. I'm tired of Tamara. Like, I'm done. I'm not going back and forth with her anymore. It's not worth it. I'm not going to do it anymore. So Emily drunk. Emily is tipsy. She like they kissing on the husbands. It's funny. We end up seeing the Matt guy that Ryan is like was said to be in the lawsuit together. He makes a comment under his breath saying, this is my money launderer, when he was talking to Ryan, when Ryan was talking to them in a group. And what I found that was very interesting is that Terry, Shane, and Eddie stayed in the corner. Like, they did not move from this corner. They said hello to Matt, but they was not mixing and mingling with the other people. Even, what's her name? Katie's husband, Matt. Matt was like, I'm staying in the corner. So I feel like everybody was kind of like, girl, y'all not about to get me caught up in none of what y'all got going on. The scene where Emily confronts Katie. So it's Heather, Alexis, Emily, and Katie. And Emily's like, hey, Katie, I need to have a conversation with you. So when Kylie babysat my kids, she did a great job, phenomenal job. Did she say that my kids said that Heather is mean to me and they don't really like her or something like that? Because that's not what my children would say. They told me that Kylie was the one that said Heather was mean, and she was pretty much kind of like leading the conversation. So Katie's like, are you serious? Like, she's so shocked. And so then Katie was like, Katie was just like, my daughter's 20. I don't think she would do anything like that. Like, I don't think she would lie. And Emily's like, I'm not saying she's a liar or anything, but what I want to know is like, why were you going around telling everybody that this is what was said? Like, that could cause issues between my relationship with me and Heather. And so when they do the flashback, because Katie was like, well, Kylie's an adult. She wanted to say that stuff. And I said, no, you basically was egging her on, being like, yeah, tell him. You thought it was funny. And she even tells Heather she thought it was funny. And Heather's like, why would you think that was funny to go around saying that I'm mean? Like, you really thought that was funny? And so Kylie is doing a dual confessional with Katie, being like, why would I make that up? Like, why would I make that up? Like, that doesn't serve me in any way. And my thing is, like, we actually bonded over it. But to me, that makes Kylie weird, because why are you having these types of conversations with 9-year-olds? You're 19 or 20. Like, why are you talking to them about that? And Kylie, and it does sound, to me, it sounds like Kylie was leading the conversation, because why are you asking these kids, have they met any of the other women? Especially if like why? like why are you so engaged to know, or like so interested in knowing what these 9-year-olds have to say about these grown women? It's really given that you were sifting for information and you wanted to hear something so you could run back and tell your mom. So Katie says in her confessional that, I don't like, it's easier for me to have conversations with Kylie because she's an adult. I don't really have these conversations with my kids, my younger kids. But then they show us a flashback where it looks like they're having family dinner. Not Kylie, Katie, Matt, and the youngest son. And I think Matt was like, "How was your day?" to Katie. And then before Katie could even say anything, the youngest son was like, "Was Heather being a jerk to you? Was she being mean to you?" So yes, you do have these conversations in front of your kids, and you're a liar. And that's the thing. That's now I'm trying to feel like maybe Gina was telling the truth about when she told Katie about what happened, because it is kind of starting to feel like Katie be lying. We already had that situation with that lawsuit where it was that road rage incident where she followed that man all the way back to his house, boxed him into his driveway, and then called the police and said that that man was harassing her when you came to his house, and lied about that, and you got sued and you have to pay him a default judgment because I don't think she showed up in court. But it's just kind of like, you given that you lied, Katie. Would like to see you come back next season, but it is given that you lie. So then Emily was like, "Well, why would you, like," no, I think Heather was like, "Why would you even bring this up? And why are you being like this? And why are you laughing?" And Katie is like, "Because it's funny. It's funny because you, like, basically because you are mean, and I'm sick of you waving your hand in my face." And so Heather was about to walk away, and she said, "You know what, Katie? You think you so badass and all that stuff," because Katie ends up saying, like, "Because you swore on your kid's life and you weren't telling the truth." And Heather's like, "You're evil. Like, girl, get out my face. I'm done with this conversation." And it really wasn't the gag that I feel like everyone was trying to make it be online, because I'm just kind of like, Katie is coming off as a liar. Again, I get it. People don't like Heather all of a sudden because she's still friends with Tamra, and she did what she did with Shannon, and that's well within your right. But what I don't like is people trying to rewrite history and act like she didn't have solid reasons not to be cool with Katie and to have her good eye on Gina. That's it. But the conversation ends there. Finally see Jen and Tamra have a conversation. And Heather's telling Tamra, Jen's by herself, go speak to her. So Tamra goes over there to Jen, and she's just like, "Hey, thanks for inviting me." They hug, and then she just is like, "I wish you would have came or sat down with me so we could talk before this, because I wanted to prove to you that Shannon was a lot more involved in that conversation, and I just didn't go out my way to do a background check." And so Jen doesn't really care about that anymore. She pretty much is telling Tamra, "Girl, I'm done with this relationship. Like, I'm sick of having these conversations. I don't want to keep going back and rehashing." And Tamra's like, "I don't want to either." But she's just like, Jen is like, "I don't know where to go here from you. Like, I think we have conversations. I think we're moving forward." And then next thing you know, you talking trash about me. You talking trash about Ryan. And Tamra was like, "I'm not the only one that has bad things to say about Ryan. All the women have said bad things about Ryan. So it's not just me." And I think what Tamara is struggling with is understanding that people understand that Shannon was a part of that. Like, she was digging in the dirt with you, but they're willing to forgive Shannon because, at least with Shannon, when Shannon apologizes, she changes her behavior. And it's not just, "I'm apologizing just to say I'm apologizing so we can move on." Whereas with you, Tamra, you apologize, but you do the same behavior, if not worse. And people are just tired of it. Like, and Jen is tired of it. So she's like, "I'm done with this conversation." And so she starts to raise her voice. And Tamra's like, don't yell at me. Like, I don't want to argue. And Jen is like, "You can leave." And I think Tamra was caught off guard that she was like, "Oh, like, whoa, like, I'm not trying to, like, start anything." She was like, "I just don't want to yell with you." And I think that's where Tamra is. It's like, girl, you have pushed that lady to the point where it's like she has no problem disrespecting you back and telling you to leave. And so Tamra's like, "All right, cool, I'm out." So she walks away from the table. Jen grabs her drink and is like, "Girl, I'm good." So we then see the girls take a group photos. Emily is drunk as a skunk. Okay. Emily is yelling for Shannon to come take the photo because she's on the inside part of the venue. Shane is like, "Emily, she probably don't want to be near you because you screaming and you drunk, girl. Chill." Chill. So, yeah, so chill. So they take the group photo. It's a cute group photo. And then Gina kicks up the mess where she's like, "It's crazy to me that we've been at this party this whole entire time and you and her haven't spoken." And she was referring to Tamra and Shannon because they were like all lined up. And Tamara's like, that's fine, that's fine. And then Shannon's like, yeah, like I'm not gonna be around toxic people or be bothered by a toxic environment anymore, you know. And then she gets mad, and I don't know if Tamara said something or the way that Tamara looked at her, because Tamara was smirking at her. Shannon pointed her finger. She was like, you ruined my birthday trip. It was 4 days of hell with you, and all I wanted for that trip to be fun and a good time, and you couldn't give me that. I'm done. I'm done. That's why I say when I'm done, I'm done. And so she walks away, and Emily and everyone's like, why do you keep walking away? And I'm with them. That's gonna get old. It's already old. Like, you've been on this show for several seasons. There's nothing wrong with creating clear boundaries, but you're on a reality show that where you have to interact with these people. So, and I'm kind of have to give Tamara one where Tamara was like, I ain't say nothing to you. I like, and you gave her the satisfaction, Shannon, of knowing that her mere presence irritates you that much and works you up to the point where you are ready, like you storming out of a party. Like, that was just crazy. So Emily is like, she has to stop doing that. I don't get why she always is walking off. Like, that's just annoying. So then we see Katie's husband, Matt, like he on the corner, like leaning up on the wall. And Shannon comes up to him, and she's just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. And he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, you know, they keep trying to work me up, and it's toxic, and I'm not doing it anymore. So then Matt is like, well, maybe you need to remove yourself from the toxic environment. And she was like, you know, I'm offended that you would say that. I'm a strong person. Okay, I'm a strong person. And Matt is like, well, you know, me and Katie really care about you. And I'm like, you don't even know her that much to care about her like that. But okay, y'all only been filming for like 5 months, sir. But I don't think he was wrong. Shannon gets really worked up because she's like, how dare you say that to me, that I'm like, he didn't say anything other than remove yourself from a toxic situation. And Matt was just like, you came bothering me, which is true, because the man was just leaning up against the wall. I don't know if he was texting somebody or just was like trying to get away from the crowd for a hot minute or the cameras. But like, yeah, why you got an attitude with Matt? Matt didn't do nothing to you. So then Shannon's like, ridiculous. She was like, are you serious? Are you serious? And I said, girl, have you been, what you been drinking, Shannon? Because that didn't make sense to me. You came bothering him. So then Emily's like, I'm gonna go get her. I'm gonna go get her. And she was like, and then I think seeing Tamara and Eddie leave early. We see Emily, Gina, and Heather go inside the event space to go coax Shannon out so she can come hang out with everybody. I forgot to say this earlier, but Joe, who we saw, we find out that her and Ryan used to work together, that Ryan was her boss when they used to work at like some loan or like insurance place together. I said, that's interesting. And then Shannon goes up to Katie and was like, I'm very offended by what your husband said to me. And I'm like, girl, Katie, cuss her out. like if I was Katie and Shannon was explaining to me what Matt said, and I would have been like, what are you talking about? Because I'm like, he didn't say anything that was offensive. And Katie looks so confused. We then see John pull up to pick up Alexis. So then Emily rushes over to Shannon to tell her, girl, John is here. John is here. John is here. So we see Shannon say, you know, she thinks she took my man, but honestly, she took my problem. I said, that's the mindset you need to have, Shannon. So then you see Gina and Emily trying to see John pick up Alexis over the because it's inside the area is like there's a wall. So Emily is pushing Gina up, almost fell and busted her, you know what. They're laughing because I'm like, girl, don't fall. Don't fall. They breaking glass. Then Shannon gets emotional in the confessional being like, I'm not going to allow Alexis and John to like break me down or tear me down with their antics. So I'm like, I'm not even about to play into this. And she was like, I can wake up every morning knowing that like I'm okay. Wrapping everything up, you know, where they give us the cue cards of where they at. I hated how they did this one where they were showing like Instagram, like just picture. Like, I hated it. I was like, what happened to y'all just putting like a paragraph? So they first did Shannon, and it says Shannon is slowly entering the dating pool, and although Alexis may have taken her problem, one still remains with the unsettled lawsuit. So her and John. You then got Emily. It says Shane finally went to the doctor. His tests were normal, but Emily upped his life insurance policy, as she should. The twins have a new babysitter who does not spread rumors. Then we see Tamara's. Tamara's, we find out that Sophia is attending a community college for studio arts. Good for her. And while Tamara intends to speak her truth and be the bigger person, she is still waiting for Jen's wedding invitation. Girl, that's never coming to you. Now that we know they suing you too. We then end up seeing Heather and Terry talk, where Heather basically says she done with what's her name? With Katie, because she was like, she said that I swear it on my kids and lied. I'm done with that lady. But we have Heather. She says Nikki's first real estate deal broke a record for the highest sale in Long Beach. Shout out to him. It says, and while Terry's nose still doesn't make him look like George Clooney, he is not snoring anymore. We then see Katie and her husband talking, where Katie was like, I'm confident to know that I've told all the truths while I know other people are lying. And she says Katie has yet to go to South Korea, but hopes to meet her birth mother later this year. Heather will not be getting a souvenir. So we then see a speech from, oh, hold up. Before the speech, it says Gina and Travis are still living apart and share custody of Meatball and Clover, which are their dogs. It says Gina is optimistic about the future of, as Travis and her get closer, finalizing his divorce. So he's not divorced yet. So we see a speech from Ryan and Jen, where Jen is talking about how she is so happy that she met this man, that he makes her feel beautiful, that this is like her best friend. And she never would have thought in 3 years, if you would have told her she would be getting engaged and married, she would have thought you were lying. So everyone claps and toasts to them. And then the screen pretty much just goes black, and then it opens up with all these like headlines from Page 6, Us Weekly, Reality Blurb, The Sun, Access Hollywood, where it says RHOC star Jennifer Petterini's fiance reportedly embroiled in a $16 million MLB gambling scam. They go on to say that Ryan Boaji is connected to the Shohei Ohtani gambling scheme. And then the last thing they show is Tamra Judge declares that she was right. After we get the scene with all the articles on the screen, we then see this sit down between Jen and Ryan. And honestly, Ryan was blowing smoke up Jen's ass. Like, she was like crying, saying like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to have to go into the firing squad. Like, this is too much. It feels like the carpet's been ripped off and up under me. We were so happy. And Ryan was pretty much like, it's in God's hands. And like, it is what it is. I'm not going to go to jail. Like, I don't care. I don't care to talk to you about your friends or whatever your friends got going on. I'm good over here, and so are you. And I said, girl, you red flag. Especially when he mentioned God. I said, you did what they said you did. You did what they said you did, sir. So then we have two meetups where we have Katie and Gina meeting up and waiting for Jen to come over to Katie's house. And then we have Emily, Heather, Alexis, and Tamara meeting up. Now, we didn't see Shannon. I don't know if Shannon said she wanted no parts of this, but we did not see her speak to anybody. So we have Emily sitting down at the restaurant first. Tamara gets there and she's like, girl, when y'all gonna start understanding that I'm always right? I was right about Brooks and I was right about this. So then Tamara's in her confessional being like, I knew it was something shady, but I didn't think it was this bad. So then Heather gets there and she's like, what the F is going on? And then, what's her name? Alexis gets there and Alexis was like, this right here is crazy. So then we flash to the scene where Katie and Gina meeting up, and Gina was like, if she marries him, this is going to ruin her life. And then Katie was like, the Matt guy was there. And Gina's like, no, I didn't. And they were like, yeah. And they show the flashback, and the Matt was there. We saw Matt multiple times. And Katie was just like, that's why my husband was staying in the corner, because he didn't want no parts of that, of mixing and mingling with them people. So then you hear, like, they show flashbacks at the party where you hear Matt talking. You hear him saying, well, obviously it's all over the internet. Then I think you hear Terry be like, are you going to go to jail? And he said, I might go. And then you hear Matt say, the people I'm friends with, I'm not going to rat on. I said that. I mean, some people might say that's admirable. Other people might say, girl, that's stupid. And I'm kind of with them other people. Save yourself. Like they say, put on your life vest first before you put on somebody else's. And Katie is just like, this is crazy. So then as they're sitting there, Emily, because she's a lawyer, starts to explain. She was like, it's around $16 million. is got into Matt's account, but he don't know how it got there. I said, yeah. I noticed when like 50 cents is gone from my account. I'm like, how do you not notice $16 million being deposited into your account? So Emily pretty much says, like, if she marries that man, she a dumbass. And I agree with Emily. And then we see Tamara come out with her FBI hat, and Alexis is like, girl, and all Heather could do is just shake her head like, this is crazy. So we finally see Jen get to Katie's house, and Jen is just like, I didn't know what to do. I just left the house. I don't know what to do. I just left the house. And so they're like, what is going on? And she was like, I don't really know. I don't know. So then Gina tells her, girl, I think you are in an unhealthy relationship. And then Gina's like, what about my relationship is unhealthy? I said, all of this is unhealthy. All it is. She was like, I'm with a man where like, he's my best friend. We talk about everything. He makes me feel safe, this, and this. In my previous marriage, I had to fight to get a conversation with him. I had to fight for all of these things. And Gina is just looking at her like, yeah, girl, but the only person you need to be worried about is you and your kids. Like, screw Matt. You need to be worrying about you and your kids. And the thing is, like, am I saying that Jen should have stayed in a loveless marriage? No. If she wanted to leave, she had every right to leave and find another way to be happy by herself or with somebody else. But to attach yourself to somebody that's involved in something like this, who I still have not let go, that Jen didn't even know what Ryan's real job is crazy to me. And it's idiotic and it's stupid, because you've already been shown that men are not going to take care of the men in your life. Yourself to the only person you can count on is your dad. Your dad will, like, he paid off your lawyers. He helped you pay rent. But I don't think Ryan ever slid you any money to help pay your rent, and your husband allowed you and your kids to get evicted. So if I was you, I would not be trying to attach myself to this man. So then Jen has like a full-on breakdown where she just starts crying, saying, I literally effed it all up. And so Gina says in her confessional, I think Jen is struggling with the fact that she divorced her husband and pretty much took her family through all of this like turmoil and strife. And now she's with this man, and it was pretty much all for nothing. I said, yeah, girl. Yeah, you about right. You definitely about right. And Gina's trying to console her. So then the last thing we see about them is Ryan was never accused or charged of any wrongdoing and received full use immunity. It says his friend Matthew Brower pled guilty and faces up to 18 years in federal prison. Girl, in federal prison, you got to do all the time. Or at least I think it's like serve 85% of it. And then it says Ryan and Jen plan to get married in 2015. If Jen decides to marry Ryan after this situation where she had a clear cut out, she is slower than a box of hammers. And whatever happens, happens. Like, there will be no sympathy for me on this end, because you are not that stupid. To me, Jen is willfully allowing herself to attach herself to this man because she does not want to take care of herself. That's what it feels like, because there is no way that you see all of this happening. And I still go back to Jen not knowing what Ryan did in the beginning of the season. She was like, I don't know. He just be sleep all the day, but he makes money. But what gives me is Jen wants to be that oblivious housewife that doesn't know how everything works, but knows that they're okay. And that is not the way to go. Like, ma'am, you have kids. Like, you have to be smarter than this. Like, your last husband played in your face and got your kids evicted. The only person that it seems like you can trust that is a man is your daddy. Because it seems like your dad always comes in and saves you. And I feel like Jen is so used to that and relies on her being pretty and like being likable that she is not willing to actually move past that. Because I'm like, sis, there's no way I would still get married to that man. No way. And I looked up what full use immunity is, and they gave me the AI, thing that they do on Google now, but it says full immunity can be referred to different types of legal immunity, including absolute immunity, total immunity, and witness immunity. And it seems like Ryan has gotten witness immunity, because they said witness immunity, a type of immunity that can be granted to a witness in a criminal case. There are two main types of witness immunity. You have transactional immunity, also known as the total immunity. This type of immunity protects a witness from any further charges related to their their testimony. Then you have use and derivative use immunity. And I guess this is what Ryan has, where it says this type of immunity protects a witness from having their statement or evidence derived from their statements used against them by the prosecutor. And it says immunity can protect a person from criminal prosecution and lawsuit and other legal actions. However, immunity does not completely remove a person's constitutional rights. For example, a witness granted immunity can still choose not to answer questions if they believe the answers might incriminate them. So I'm just like, girl, that still, to me, that still means you did something. And being attached to that in any way, I wouldn't want to be involved with, because that means financially, Ryan's money be funny. And I'm still like, how do you not know $16,000 was in your bank account, sir? What? It just don't make sense. It does not make sense. And I just feel like if Jen comes back and she marries that man, and then next thing we know, Jen has to help him pay restitution, or he gets sued. Because I feel like I feel like you can get immunity for a criminal case. I don't know if that means you can get immunity civilly. I don't know. I feel like because they're two different courts, maybe somebody might come out and sue him that way. You just never know. And with this, I feel like other things about Ryan has been funny when it comes to money. And Jen is just dumb if she marries this man. That is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know that you stopped by. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.